Hi there. So I'm giving you a break from looking at my face and also watching me gesture wildly for this video because at home I use Snagit. I do not have Camtasia on my home computer. So we're going to go over active learning. So basically, as you know, as an instructor in your any setting, a student needs to be actively engaged in order to be the most successful in comprehending course material as well as successfully completing the class. And I think sometimes in a face-to-face setting, we more intuitively integrate active learning, and in online settings, we sometimes tend to present information and students passively receive it, and that can increase the rate of the likelihood that they're not going to succeed in the online portion of your class or in your hybrid courses or in your fully online courses. So you want to intentionally develop active learning opportunities for your class, and this is going to go over some suggestions for how you may want to approach that. So some examples of active learning. You want to give students the opportunity to talk about what they are learning, not just passively looking at a PowerPoint like you're doing right now, not just passively reading an assigned reading. To write about what they're learning, to ask questions about what they're learning, to relate this information to their lives. Obviously, if it's more relevant to them or things that they see around them, they're going to find it more meaningful. To apply this information to the real world. All of those are ways to help students understand why the information is important, and it actively engages them, helps them understand it on a deeper level, and increases their likelihood to succeed in your course. So you want to create opportunities in your course for student to faculty interaction. So some examples of how you might do that is just providing feedback on assignments, journals, and reflective activities. You do want to give students feedback on their assignments, obviously, just as you would do in your face-to-face courses, so that the students find them meaningful. By having students participate in forums, discussion boards, or chats. These can be formally graded discussions, or they could be not graded or extra credit. You can do chat. We're going to look at chat in a second, but you can use that for your advice hours or office hours, or you could use it to have students interact with one another in real time. You also want to send frequent announcements to remind students of the upcoming week, or to summarize the previous week. I'll have to fix that typo, so that they feel like there's a cohesiveness between what they were doing and what they're going to be doing, and they feel that you have, you're sort of overseeing all of the information that's being delivered. You can also provide online or phone appointments. I do both. You can even do video chats. And you can mentor individual learners if you find that appropriate. And also have students work with small groups of students to be peer leaders. So you can also foster student-to-student interaction in lots of ways. So creating group projects or case studies, depending on your discipline. Providing peer instruction. For example, I have them peer review each other's writing as an English instructor. You can have them do role-playing. You can foster synchronous and asynchronous discussions. Collaborative brainstorming, peer reviews, just a bunch of different examples. And then you're going to have student-to-content interaction, which I think is the easiest one that we think of, right? So tutorials, quizzes, a web scavenger hunt, or assigned readings. So to me, the student-to-content interaction is what we all do intuitively. The other stuff, like fostering student-to-student interaction and being sure you have consistent student-to-faculty interaction, is what you may want to be a little more intentional about in your class. So that's the end of that slideshow. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about more specifically. So if we go to our course, so this is the active learning module or page in the hybrid online training. I have a bunch of different resources here. One of them is Confer Zoom. So Confer Zoom allows you to do video conferencing and screen capturing. It's also free. There's some community college opportunity that makes it free. I use this as a supplement to chats. So your chats are here. And a chat is going to just be a way for you to synchronously communicate with text only to your students. So hello, I'm just going to write hello. That's going to appear there. All of your students can log on here. There's a lot of faculty that use this. They assign chats that are graded. I use it for office hours for students, and you can use that in however you'd like. Also, students can go log into chat at any point and interact with one another. So that's there. We also have this tool this tool called Conferences, and I don't use this tool. You could play around with it, but if you click in there, basically you can create a conference. It uses this app called Big Blue Button. Update that. I found that students have a hard time because it takes Flash Player. And a lot of times there's issues with students logging in and using it. So this is making me install it. I'm going to try to use it right now. But there are some barriers to conferences, so I'm going to show you how I use Confer Zoom instead. Okay, so I was having technical errors with conference as I normally do, so I'm going to show you what I use instead of conferences, and that's Confer Zoom. So I'm going to go to Confer Zoom, log in. I already have an account here. And what you can do is give students the link to log in and talk to you, and they don't need to download anything or have Flash or have any thing that's annoying to deal with. They can just log in and talk to you with the link. So let's go ahead and I'll show you where that is. So I've already set up my account. If I share with students this link, they click on it, and then we're all in a chat together. And we can do a video chat. I can record it. I can host up to 100 students. And so it's just a really great tool. You can also bring up documents onto the screen for students, and you can look at them together. So that's helpful for me when I'm, helping students with editing their paper, etc. So I would recommend you try Confer Zoom for synchronous communication. There's also a bunch of other things you may want to try here. Piazza for discussion and problem solving. There's a flashcard thing here, animated presentations. Anything you can do to draw your student in and engage them, you may want to experiment with. Now, to me, these are sort of bell and whistle resources, and so they're like extra things you can do. And so don't get too hung up on using everything you can as you're starting to develop a new online course, but it's just something to consider as you're, improving your class, right? Because we're always striving to improve our courses. And so if you've been delivering content the same way for the last 5 years, you may want to experiment with delivering it in a different way and trying to engage students a little bit more. So there's all these tools here. For your activity, what I'd like you to do is to think of an assignment, project, or task you would give your hybrid or online class that actively engages your students. So what tools might you use to help support that active learning? So think about an assignment you already use. And this could be the one that you assign in your face-to-face class and that you're modifying for your online or hybrid course, right? So what type of experience do you expect your students to have during this assignment? And then next you're going to want to consider these questions about your assignment as honestly as possible. So you don't have to email them to me, right? So just be honest with yourself. So do you feel like the assignment is authentic? Does it include opportunities for active learning? Is it just passive learning, right? Does the assignment allow for different types of interaction? So student to student, is it, them questioning things, creating things? What level of interaction are they having? Does it build on prior work in the course, right? Because we want to scaffold our courses generally. Does it give the students an opportunity to gain useful feedback on their work? So is it meaningful to them? Will they get feedback? And then does it encourage students to think on and reflect on what and how they are learning and its significance? So you really want to take an assignment you already use and figure out how you can make it even more engaging. So it can even be an assignment you think is already a strong assignment. And so that's what I'd like you to do for this activity. And again, that's on your own. And then there will be a quiz appearing here once I create it. So, okay, well, I hope this helps and gives you some ideas for how to actively engage your students. I would suggest experimenting with some of these tools. Screencast-O-Matic helps you capture video of your screen. Camtasia is what I've been using in the prior modules where you can see my face and my crazy hands that are moving, but you can't see them right now. Some of these I've used and some of them I haven't because I'm still learning too, and there's constant stream of different resources that come with online instruction. So find what works for you and experiment depending on your discipline. And if you have questions about a way you'd like to engage your student but you aren't sure how to, feel free to reach out to us. Okay, hope this is helpful.